Alright everybody, it's nice to see you. Yes it is, it's Lee back again with another video, and today I'm going to be doing it on a clone house, but they actually do their own kind of original fragrances that are very popular in the UK. I've been eyeing up a few fragrances for a while, seen a few videos, people just having their minds blown by them, so I thought, do you know what, I'm going to give them a little try. So I bought their discovery set and it arrived, I'd say about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, so I've given it enough time for me to actually try the fragrances, so it's not a first impressions. I have worn them 2 or 3 times just to get a vibe of how the fragrance is. Before we get into the fragrances, just going to give you a little bit of information about the company and then we'll jump into the juice. So Pocket Scents was set up by Matt Wilson in 2015. They did start by doing clones, so they cloned, of course, everything like Aventus. Everyone's cloned Aventus. People that aren't even trying to clone Aventus have cloned Aventus. They've done sort of, I think they've got Black Afghano on there, Molecule 01. They've got another range called the Any Ultra range, which is where they put their more kind of like high-end clones and also their originals as well. So we're going to be trying a few of them out today. Right, so this discovery set, it set me back around £25. Which I'm a little bit annoyed at actually. I've got a bone to pick with you, Pocket Scents. For one, about 2 days after I brought this discovery set, you've announced 5 new fragrances. Like, talk about shite timing. I have actually managed to get one of the new fragrances, but it's probably the one I would have least liked to have smelled. So it's not your fault, I guess. It's just bad timing on mine. I'm almost certain when I bought it, I actually paid £25 for it, and pretty much as soon as that payment went through, the price has just dropped to like £21.50. I don't know kind of what's happened there, but if you want to get the discovery set, I would recommend getting it now just in case it pops back up. But I still think for 25 quid, pretty good value to be fair. Right, so the fragrances I've got is Blood Axe, which is based off Creed Viking, which I didn't really like at first. Then I got my hands on Norse by Perfume Parlor. Absolutely fell in love with it over sort of the spring, summertime. So I thought, do you know what, everyone gives this great reviews, I'll give that a try. One of their first original fragrances, which was Purple Gourmand. All the kind of UK reviewer guys, they absolutely love this fragrance. And the note breakdown I thought was quite interesting. I had no idea how it was going to smell, so I just thought I'd pick that one up as well. Also, another one of their originals is Raspberry and Vanilla. A lot of really good reviews on this one, saying it kind of smells like love hearts, which I absolutely love. Any sort of chalky sweet, I'm all about. And the last one is from the new range, so from the 2021, 1st of January they released. What happens is, when you buy the discovery set, just in the notes before you pay, you put in what you want. If not, they will just send you 4 random ones. So I picked these 3 and then I just said surprise me. And if this had happened a day or 2 later when they actually announced the new fragrances, I would have probably picked like Cherry Tobacco or Oud Opulenza. Basically what I'm trying to say is the last one I would have picked up is Fleur Gal. The one I was probably the most excited for is Raspberry and Vanilla, and I must admit I was sorely disappointed with this one. It was the one I was looking forward to the most, and I would say it's probably the one I like the least. Now everyone compares it to kind of like love hearts. You get the raspberry, there's red berries in there as well, a bit of lemon, bit of bergamot, of course the vanilla, amber, and it's also got rose otto. It opens up. Of course, you get the raspberry, you get a bit of the berries, a little bit of the vanilla, but the rose to me is just so powerful. It's probably, if anything, a little bit too powerful. There's just this sickly rose note that just really doesn't resonate with me, and yeah, I didn't really enjoy it, and I kind of left like, oh, a little bit bummed out. You can tell it is quality stuff. It's got that fizziness, it's got that raspberry pop. But it's just this floral note, which I think if it was toned down or wasn't there, I would really like this, but it's just a little bit too much for me. I don't really get much of the citrus, the lemon, the bergamot there. I suppose they probably play a little bit more of a supporting note. To me, I just get a kind of creamy raspberry rose floral fragrance. Luckily, this dries down to something really nice and something that does resemble kind of love hearts and some sort of raspberry chalky sweets. Performance is actually pretty good. I'm quite surprised at how a fragrance that's so kind of light off the skin lasts so long. As soon as you get past that kind of sickly rose note in there, which I didn't really agree with, it does kind of dry down to a more raspberry sherbet kind of fragrance, which was kind of what I was after and what I was excited for. That lasts kind of all day, about another 8 hours. So if you wore this in the summer, you'd have no problems whatsoever. Right, so that's all the negatives out of the way. Let's get to a positive, and what a positive this is. This is Purple Gourmand. Blimey, this is, I've never smelled anything like this. This is completely different. And I must admit, when it comes to their original fragrances, they are really unique. I've not smelled anything that I'm kind of like, that's a little bit of Entisy and a little bit of Sauvage and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Never smelled anything near it, and this is definitely one. It's got a pear note in it, and pear for me, the only other fragrance that I believe I've smelled with pear in it is Ultra Male. Honestly, couldn't be further away from Ultra Male. It's chalk and cheese, so different. Top notes of coffee and caramel, mid notes of pear, jasmine and coconut, and a base of musk, vanilla, patchouli and ambergris. So off first sniff, I get caramel, a little bit of coffee, not too much coffee. It's probably supporting the caramel if anything. You do get a little bit of that warm kind of coconut vibe. It's not too far from kind of like Virgin Island waters, but if Virgin Island waters had a shit ton of caramel in it as well. That does sound like it's going to be sickly sweet, and to be fair, it probably would be. But there's this note of pear in there that's honestly a little bit of a revelation. It's just not too fresh, but fresh enough to kind of, it gives the fragrance a bit of pop. It gives the fragrance something completely different that kind of steers away from this kind of sickly caramel, coffee, deep, rich fragrance. Really unique. I'm so impressed with this. Really, really good. And to be fair to it, it performs very well. I'm not going to say it's a beast mode. I've seen some reviews out there saying, oh, it's absolute beast mode, 2 sprays and that's you done all day. Maybe for their skin, definitely not for mine. It's not saying it's light or anything, it's definitely not. It doesn't project kind of like an Amen would, or any kind of Mugler flanker to the Amen line, but it is pretty strong. And it does last all day. As it gets to the end of the day, you get the remnants of the pear that doesn't kind of die out too much. And of course, it's mainly kind of the caramel that kind of remains, a bit of the ambergris as well. Really warm fragrance. I would say fantastic for winter, and you could maybe push it if you kind of calm it on the sprays in the summer. That fresh pear note kind of gives it this vibrancy that I've never smelt in a fragrance before. It's really, really good. The only thing even remotely close that I've smelt to this is that bitter peach fragrance from Tom Ford. I sprayed it on my hands in Harvey Nichols about 2 months ago, and that's the only thing that's even remotely close to this. And to be fair, it's not that close at all, but it's got this kind of fresh juicy fruit note that kind of takes away from a really warm dark body. This kind of does that as well. Once again, kind of like raspberry and vanilla, it's dead on unisex. I could see me wearing this, I could see my mum wearing this, my girlfriend wearing this, sister wearing this. Really unisex. Another fantastic release. I would say definitely my favourite from the originals that I've tried, but that might change. I'll probably put through an order for all the other new ones that have come out and give them a smell, because that cherry tobacco definitely sounds like that's a little bit up my street. Right, so the next one is Fleur Gal, or Fleur Gal. Still don't know how to say it. White flowers, basically. So all they say about this, it's white floral. All the new ones don't really have a note breakdown. All you get with these is white floral, jasmine and iris. But at the top you kind of get this citrusy vibe. I do think there is citruses actually meant to be in this as well. It's not like a poppy lemon or poppy lime or bergamot or something like that. I mean, it could be bergamot, a bit of orange, maybe like a little bit of neroli in there as well. After that dies down, to me it's just pure cotton florals, really fluffy. That's the best way to describe it. It's fluffy. There's a lot to it. It's not too thick, but it's got a delicate lightness that isn't too light. So fluffy is definitely the best way to describe this. I think it definitely leans feminine, although I have kind of rocked this. I've gone to work in this and just thought, fuck it, you know what, I'm putting it on. White florals are what I'm smelling like today. And to be fair, it's done a job. It lasts relatively long, I'd say about 8 hours. It smells pretty good. I mean, if my missus actually wore fragrances, I'd probably give this to her. Because she's not too keen on fragrances, it'll probably go to my mum, so I'll probably calm it on the sprays on that and give it to my mum. I reckon she'll probably quite enjoy that. But no, pretty decent performing and very nice, fluffy, clean smelling floral fragrance. Not my cup of tea personally, but I can definitely sense the quality on this. So if you do kind of like that thing, definitely recommend you giving that a go. Right, so last but certainly not least is Blood Axe. See, I didn't really like Viking when I first smelt it. Got the perfume parlour version. Absolutely loved it. I've smelt it again since, and I must admit it doesn't smell exactly like it. There's a serious pepper note that's missing. This Blood Axe has that. This is absolutely perfect. I must admit, I do think Viking, I've always said it, it's a shit name. Viking, big, strong, killers. The smell, quite elegant, quite soft, quite natural. Of course, Creed, they're known for their naturals. That's what they do best. This one, you kind of get the lavender, you've got mint, you've got that pink pepper at the start. All those notes don't scream killer to me. If this fragrance was called English Country Gardens, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. Really nice fragrance, however. I love it. So versatile. To me, this is this is going to sound a bit controversial now, but Aventus is kind of for the young guys, Vikings for the older guys, a bit more mature. Does the same job in a completely different way. I absolutely love Viking. I probably prefer it to Aventus, to be fair. And Blood Axe does an absolutely fantastic job at getting that DNA and getting that vibe for a fraction of the price, really. To me, that whole Viking DNA, it's spring. To me, that is just perfect. Of course, you could wear this in winter. I have. Does a great job. You could wear it in summer. I have. Does a great job. Could definitely be a signature scent. It's just a really strong but fresh fragrance. Kind of obviously that lavender, that pink pepper. It all kind of molds in with the citruses and the rose, and it's got a base of sandalwood, and there's patchouli in there and vetiver. So it is kind of a fragrance that's incredibly well balanced. It's modern but old school. It's powerful but light. It's dark but fresh. I think it's the original's a masterpiece, and I think this is probably the best clone I've ever smelt of Viking. Absolutely fantastic. Hands down to me, the winner out of this and the perfume parlour version, which also, I'm just going to go on a little side tangent. If you have smelt Viking and you didn't really get on with it and you thought it was a little bit too spicy, too peppery, try this. To me, it's Viking without that strong pepper note. Kind of like, you know what Mont Blanc Explorer is to Creed Aventus. This would be kind of what I imagine a designer take on Viking to be. Still a great fragrance, however, I do think Blood Axe does take the cake. Absolutely fantastic. When I first smelt this, I was like, yeah, that is it. That is that note down. That is perfect. So no, in conclusion, a little bit disappointed with raspberry and vanilla. Fleur Gal, it was something I was never going to be wowed by, but I think it did a good job anyways. Purple Gourmand, absolute class, and Blood Axe is just the best Viking interpretation I've ever smelt, and I do absolutely love that DNA, so I will definitely be grabbing a bottle of these two. If you have tried these, or you've tried more from Pocket Scents and you think there's some that I should try, please comment below. I would love to hear your opinions. If you haven't already, please do subscribe, please like the video, share the video, comment, ring the bell notification so you'll be notified when I next make a video. Also, if you do have some video suggestions, like for instance, if you wanted to see a more in-depth Norse versus Blood Axe, or kind of just more like a perfume parlour version versus a Pocket Scents version, anything along those lines, do let me know. Always looking for ideas to make videos. I've got a load of perfume parlours. I'm going to do a video on them. Also, if you would prefer videos of like the separate clones, or would you like them all just in one big sort of 15-20 minute video going through each and every fragrance I have? I'd really like to get your opinions on that, because I've been umming and ahhing about what to do with that video. So again, thank you so much for watching the video today. I've been Lee from the Cologne Zone, and the pleasure is always mine.